Patricia, something happened last week that was of significance. Would you fill us in on it?
It was. So the Amtrak Downeaster celebrated 10 million riders, which is really a tremendous milestone, especially when you consider the population of the state of Maine. So we decided to not find one, 10 millionth passenger, but we kind of have been watching ridership. We knew kind of what day and what train. And so members of our team boarded train 686 last Wednesday afternoon, and celebrated 10 million riders with all of the passengers that were on between Brunswick and Wells. So we had free cookies that we gave out to folks, made announcements. We had 10 million big Mylar balloons, and everyone on those trains, that train received a golden ticket, which is good for a free round trip. So we wanted to make our passengers, because this was about passengers, so we wanted to make the passengers part of the celebration.
Well, you've been able to do some rather fun celebrations over the years. Uh, Tell us about the beginning. I understand that maybe some of the platforms weren't in and other problems during those years.
When the service started, there were as many questions as there were answers. So, as you well know, I mean, it took a long time to get the Downeaster up and going, and it was really part of a citizens initiative led by Wayne Davis and Train Riders Northeast. And there were some challenges at that point in time with NNEPRA and the railroad in terms of how the project was to come together. So there were lots of fits and starts, I'll say. So when the service first started, we did have a huge inaugural celebration that started in Boston at North Station. There were a number of dignitaries there. I want to say there were 10 or 11 cars on the train. It was a very long train with lots of people, and we did whistle stops in every station location. Obviously, at that point in time, the service was only between Portland and Boston, but it was fabulous to roll into those station communities and just see hundreds of people lined up. They were cheering. There were high school bands. It was great. So that's what kicked us off. We have had a number of different types of celebrations since then, when we expanded service to Freeport and Brunswick in 2012. We had a fun one then where the rail train came up and when the construction project started, and we dropped the long strings of rail. And so that was fun for folks to see. And we've had a number. We celebrated our 1 millionth passenger. A few years ago, we celebrated 20 years. So there's, again, it always goes back to, this is a train service that started as a result of a citizens initiative. And we try to always make it, be mindful of that and remember it's really not about the trains. It's really about the people who ride the train and the people in the communities we serve.
I know you're not one to rest on your laurels. You have some special projects underway at this point.
We do. We have a couple good ones. So the Wells project that we've talked about, that actually, we had the groundbreaking for that in 2021. There's two components to the Wells Area Improvement Project is what it's officially called. The first is to extend the number 2 track in front of the station. It's a 2-mile passing siding there. So the first part is to extend that 6 miles to make it 8 miles of double track, which will really provide a lot more flexibility for Amtrak trains to get around each other, for Amtrak trains and CSX trains to get around each other. And then the second part of that is building a second platform, because even though there's double track in front of the station, there's only one platform. So trains really can't make efficient train meets there, passenger trains. So we're going to build a second passenger platform, one with a pedestrian bridge connecting them. The first part of the project, that the siding extension, I believe was officially wrapped up the end of last week. I need to check on that, but they're just buttoning up a few little punch list items, but CSX has completed that. They'll be running freight trains over that track to get it tamped down so that Amtrak can operate at speed over that. So that part is complete. And we earlier this month sent out an RFP for a contractor to come and construct the second platform, and the pedestrian bridge. And we got some good bids in, so we'll be making that award this week as well. So that we expect that to get underway in the spring. That part of the project is going to take probably the better of 2 years to complete. So we'll see that complete sometime in 26 or maybe early 27. But that'll really be important. And I think it'll really, help ridership from Wells, and it'll also help our reliability to be able to have trains meet there. In addition to that, and that project incidentally was funded through the Federal Railroad Administration through a CRISI grant with contribution from Maine DOT, and also, well, initially it was Pan Am and now CSX. We also have a major construction project coming up early in 2025, beginning at the end of March, early April. CSX is going to start the replacement of 124,000 ties from Brunswick all the way to the Massachusetts state line. It's a great project. It's important. It's really, it's a project that's funded through another FRA Fed State Partnership Grant with CSX providing the match. But it's really a great way for CSX to kind of set a good baseline for tie replacements to keep the line in a state of good repair. I mean, the railroad itself is in excellent condition right now. And so this is going to help keep it that way and help us be on a more robust and more regular maintenance cycle. That said, the replacement of 124,000 ties is going to take a few months, and it's going to be very disruptive for service. So as we get a schedule and we learn more about how that's going to actually be executed, we'll be explaining that to folks as well. And then we also have a project that we're hoping to get off the ground to relocate Portland Station, relocate it to a mainline location. That'll reduce 15 minutes of travel time and really allow passengers to be within walking distance of many more jobs and attractions. And so more to come on that later this year as well.
As you go look beyond the special projects that you have, can I mention Rockland?
You can. So, it had been a NNEPRA initiative for many years to try and reestablish passenger service on the Rockland branch. It was one of the reasons that we, wanted to extend to Brunswick, was to have connectivity to the branch. It's been challenging. The operator up there, Midcoast Rail, gave notice and left the property in the third quarter of this year. Because they primarily make their money from moving freight, and the Dragon Cement plant closed. And so there's no host railroad there right now. Maine DOT put out an RFP to find a new host railroad up there. The economics of service on the Rockland branch and the absence of freight customers as well is challenging. So we'll wait and see. There was some interest that was submitted, and we'll see what decision Maine DOT makes. But we're hopeful that there will be an operator up there, and that we can work towards trying to establish passenger service. But we need somebody to maintain the line up there.
A question about what's next after all of these projects are dealt with. The Downeaster is a powerful economic engine for the state.
It definitely is, and it has demonstrated. It has been not only to the state of Maine, but also to the state of New Hampshire and Massachusetts. And I think there's lots of great things to come. So NNEPRA is also once Portland Station is relocated, probably once after that, we do intend to start operating a 6th round trip that will operate from Brunswick to Wells, and then come in early in the morning so that folks from southern Maine can access the greater Portland area for the workday. So we can provide a commuting option, because right now, as you know, the first northbound train doesn't get into Portland until 11:30. So we're looking at something potentially coming in around 8 a.m. We may start that if whether or not Portland Station is relocated, not sure. We think it'll be much more successful once Portland Station is relocated. But we're going to do that. So that's part of the plans. And then we are part of the Corridor ID program, and we'll be starting to refresh our service development plan for the Amtrak Downeaster beginning early in 2025. And we're going to look at some things that we really couldn't even have imagined when we last did our service development plan in 2017. First of all, the service up to Brunswick has been very, very successful. Lots of riders in and out of Brunswick. Also, CSX is installing positive train control on the line. Previously, we didn't think that this line was ever going to have positive train control, and that would have limited us to no more than 6 round trips. But once PTC is installed, that kind of takes that cap off. So we intend to work with our partners at CSX and Amtrak to look at potential new frequencies, more frequencies, maybe look at ways to reduce travel time. But that's going to be very much top of mind over the course of the next 12 to 18 months, is looking at what the future holds. And then, of course, in 2030, the new Amtrak train sets, the Arrows, are supposed to arrive here on the Downeaster service. So we'll have shiny new train sets. So, we have pushed all along. This service has been, I think, a success story, because we've done small incremental improvements. Each one is built upon the next. And we've accomplished a lot. And I think we still have a lot to do.
Well, on behalf of train riders, congratulations to you and your leadership, to your staff, which consistently outshines many transportation staffs in the country, and
Yes.
also to Amtrak and its crews for the dedication to not only efficiency, safety, but also to the passengers' comfort.
Absolutely. I mean, this really is, it really takes a village to make this work. It's, NNEPRA with the kind of the vision, the commitment, as you said, from Amtrak, and also the host railroad. We had a great working relationship with Pan Am, and that has continued with CSX. But it really takes everybody, all rowing in the same direction to make things work every day. So we're very lucky. We've got a great team.
Congratulations, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, and Happy New Year.